How much power does a Lamborghini Urus Performante, a Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT, BMW X5 Competition and Audi RSQ8 make when you put them on a dyno? Well, we're going to find out. We're also going to find out what happens when you put them on some scales to see how heavy they actually are. Anyway, I'm Matt Watson and you're watching Carwow. Buy, sell,
Carwow.
The first SUV we're going to get on the dyno is this Audi RSQ8 and it's owned by Luke. Hello, Luke.
What's happening?
Cheeky little wink there. I think Luke likes me. Do you know what my clothing is Luke?
Yeah, me that.
Oh, thank you very much. Is your car going to make good power though?
I'm here to see and find out. Put it to the test.
Underneath the bonnet, you've got a 4-litre twin-turbo V8, supposed to have 600 horsepower. How are you going to feel if it's making under what it's supposed to?
I'm going to be disappointed, I am, in Audi, to be honest, on their manufacturing information.
Okay, well, we're going to find out if Luke is going to be disappointed. Let's power it up. We've got Luke sat in there, not letting him see the power figures. I want to reveal them to him later. Will they be a shock or a nice surprise? He looks nervous. Okay then, Luke, now comes the moment of truth. So we've run your car up a few times and as you can see, this is your power curve, that's your torque curve, and your max power is supposed to do 600. I'm afraid to tell you, mate, just 530, you've lost 70 whole horses. You've got a really crap Audi RSQ8. I would sell it immediately. How disappointed are you?
Embarrassed, I think.
I'd be very embarrassed.
I'm pretty embarrassed.
You know, it's more like the Audi SQ8, not the RSQ8.
I wouldn't even put it that far.
But I'm actually lying to you. You see, this dyno obviously measures at the wheels. In fact, all dynos measure at the wheels. There has to be a calculation to work out what the power output would be at the car's flywheel, which is what the manufacturers measure. And when we put that wheel horsepower figure through the calculator, Paul from WiFBits, who are doing the dyno testing here today, what is the calculated horsepower at the engine?
643.
40 horsepower over what it's supposed to do. So this seems like quite a strong car, doesn't it, Paul?
It does, yeah. It's making good power.
Torque curve, which is obviously this. Talk us through the torque curve. It looks a bit lumpy.
It looks like the Himalayas, yes. This is a big chunk missing here. I'm not sure why it's doing it. Could be inlet air temperatures and knock.
Do you notice that when you're driving around like halfway through the rev range, it's a little bit off the power?
I couldn't say so, no.
No, it just feels strong.
It's strong. It's naturally strong.
It's going to be interesting to see how the others do, especially the ones that have the same basic engine. See how close this can run them, you know. I actually think the RSQ8 is a really good shout because it's less expensive, it's really nice inside, yet you've basically got the same tech as those two more expensive cars. We're going to see how they do in a moment. Let's do it. Now, power is only half of the performance equation. What is the other half?
Weight.
It is weight. So we've had your RSQ8 on the scales. Thanks to Scale Smart, we've got Dylan over here. So this car is supposed to weigh, according to the manufacturer, 2,315 kilograms. What does it actually weigh?
The actual weight is 2419.
Okay, that's with a full tank, and manufacturer's figures actually have 90% of the tank full. So when you do the maths for that, what's that?
2412.
So you've got loads more power, but you've got lots more weight.
So we're on overweight and power, don't we, huh?
So if I did the maths right, according to the manufacturer, your power to weight ratio should be about 260 horsepower per tonne. You've got a lot more power, but you've got more weight, but it's still over 266 horsepower per tonne. You're still winning, not by as much as you thought, but you still are. This still then is a good RSQ8, and you can actually rent it, can't you?
Yeah, rent the box car rentals, get at them, Instagram.
Right, so let's move on to the next car and see how that compares to the Audi. Next up, we have a BMW X5 Competition sent to me by Roadstar. They're a prestige car dealership in Coventry. So this thing has a 4.4 litre twin turbo V8, which should put out 625 horsepower. However, BMW is famous for lying about its horsepower figures. Often they really understate them. So let's find out what the truth is with this car. We've got the results now on the BMW X5. I haven't seen them yet, I'm not looking. But based on my experience with BMWs, I'd say it's doing more and it's got more power than the Audi. It should have. It's claimed it's supposed to have 25 horsepower more, so I think it should be better than the Audi, even though that was doing more than it was supposed to. So let's find out, Paul. So, wheel horsepower, it's got to be more than 530, which the Audi had.
Wheel horsepower is 552.
BMWs, honestly, absolutely smash it. When you put it through the calculator to account for drivetrain losses so we can get a rough estimate of what it's putting out at the engine.
669 horsepower.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot more, isn't it? And interestingly, looking at this torque curve compared to the Audi, that is better, isn't it?
It's much better. It's much smoother. There's no big dips.
Do you know what I like? I like this little pickup there at the end, which gives you a little bit, you know, as you're getting up the rev range, a little bit of extra, oh, we're not done yet! Anyway, could all be undone if it's a bit overweight. Let's get on the scales. How much does this BMW X5 weigh?
So it's 2351.
When you account for fuel?
2344.
So a bit heavier, but not loads over. Now the claimed power to weight ratio is supposed to be 272 horsepower per tonne. When I do the maths in my head, doing all the maths based on what it actually is, comes out at 286 horsepower per tonne, so 14 horsepower per tonne over what BMW claimed, which is a bit better compared to the Audi, which was 6 horsepower over what Audi claims. Yeah, BMW definitely lie more about their figures. Time for the next car. Next up, we have the Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT. It's owned by Tommy here. How do you feel about this? Do you think it's going to do the numbers?
Well, I think that Porsche understate their numbers all the time, so I think it's going to do a lot higher. Maybe not a lot, significantly higher.
This has the same 4-litre twin-turbo V8, 8-speed automatic gearbox,
Yes.
and I think the 4-wheel drive system as the Audi RSQ8.
It does.
Yet, Porsche says this one does 640 horsepower. It's got to make sure that it's got that significant gap over what figures we got for the Audi.
But it's been tuned by Porsche's GT division. It's got upgraded turbos and some other bits and bobs, so I know it'll be doing better. I'm going to say it, I know it'll do better.
And it'll definitely beat the BMW thing as well.
I'm not sure, because that surprised me.
Yeah, because that's got less power than this on paper, but I don't know if it's going to work out like that in reality. Let's get it on the dyno and see what it actually does. We've got Tommy in the room there, doing some body popping. We can all do that. we don't know what he's doing. I'm going to go find out in a moment. He seems quite confident though, doesn't he? Let's see if we're going to wipe that smug grin off his face. So, Tommy, you were confident
Yes.
about this car's performance, and here's the graph. Wheel horsepower, 567 horsepower at the wheels. So, Paul, when you went through your calculation to account for drivetrain loss, what do you reckon it is?
686.
Very
Look
happy
at
with
that smile,
Well,
686 horsepower.
Porsche never let anyone down, so I'm happy with that.
So the difference between it and the BMW is kind of what you expect, what the manufacturer's difference is. So it's all coming out in the wash. They are producing more power than we think, but it's spaced equally. But the most interesting thing about this, you know, it's got the same powertrain as the Audi pretty much, but that torque curve for this Porsche is way better, isn't it, Paul?
So yeah, lovely smooth torque curve, exactly what you want.
Yeah, Porsche engineers know what they're doing. Let's see on the scales though. It's supposed to be a GT car. Let's see if it's a GT car light. It's not going to be.
No, it won't be.
So, Tommy, you're really happy with your car's performance?
Yes.
But what about its weight?
Well, let's see what it's saying. I'm not sure. Cars tend to be heavier than manufacturers say these days, so I'm curious to see what it is.
Well, Dylan knows. You see, Porsche claims this thing should weigh in at 2,220 kilos, but Dylan has found out that it weighs,
2239.
and when you account for the fuel element,
2232.
that's only 12 kilos over. That is actually...
That's not bad.
Have you just left some things in the glove box or something like that?
I've got my fruit pastels in there.
Yeah, fruit pastels.
And my coat.
And some money.
Yeah.
Some bloody money. It's all paper, it's light. When you did the maths based on the car's official figures, the power to weight ratio is supposed to be 288 horsepower per tonne. What this car is actually doing is 307 horsepower per tonne.
I mean, Porsche, man, you can't doubt them.
You've broken the 300 barrier, which is really, really impressive. I'm not sure that the next car is going to beat this, even though really, considering the price and the stats on paper, it should do. It's going to be interesting. Finally then, we come to the big one. It is the Lamborghini Urus Performante, owned by my friend Mark McCann here.
Friend?
Yeah, you're my friend. Look.
Never called me that before.
Yeah. That's a bit weird.
That was awkward.
It was very awkward. It's going to be awkward when we find out the performance of this car because, you know, that Porsche is supposed to have 26 less horsepower than this because 4-litre twin-turbo V8, same engine, but in this, 666 horsepower, 640 claimed in the Porsche, and we've seen what it actually did in reality. Is it going to be 26 horsepower more in reality?
That's all I got for you.
Just that, like lobster hands?
If not, do you think I can take it back for a refund?
Are these still getting overs?
Yes.
I think you definitely take it back for a refund, no problem at all.
That wouldn't be very clever though, would it?
No. Anyway, let's find out exactly what it's doing. Okay, we've got Mark in the office. Probably quite worried that his car's not going to the numbers. Actually, it looks like he's doing a vlog for his channel. You can check it out. Mark McCann 64 does crazy stuff with his Urus and loads of other cars as well. You can actually see what he's been filming. He was filming some weird stuff earlier. You should go check it out. Links in the description. Right, Mark, moment of truth then. Feeling confident?
Yeah. I have faith in the Italians.
Well, yeah, right to have faith in the Italians because, well, horsepower. What are you getting there, Paul?
581.9.
I'm going to round that up to 582, come on. Which is 15 horsepower more at the wheels than the Porsche.
Brilliant.
So it is more, but it's not the 26 horsepower more. However, let's do the calculation, you know, to account for drivetrain losses, because maybe that'll make a bit more of a difference. Go on, so what's the actual horsepower that we think it's got at the crank?
704.
Which is, that's 18 horsepower more than the Porsche.
So I win.
You do win, but the difference isn't quite as much as Lamborghini are claiming. And I'm not trying to be negative about your car, just to wind you up or anything. No, I'm not jealous. The torque curve on the Porsche is slightly smoother, isn't it?
You haven't got that dip.
You see that bit there, Mark?
Yeah.
That's me coming past you in a drag race. That's when that happens.
It looks like my mum's Blamond.
It's just like sagged. But still, you know, decent numbers.
So you're saying that's my excuse there?
That's your excuse. That dip is your excuse. Whenever like you lose, just go, oh, it's like the dip in my torque curve.
So every time I do lose, we can just put this on the screen with editing.
Exactly, we'll do that. Let's get on the scales, see how heavy it is or isn't. Mark, your Lamborghini has the most power. It's also supposed to be the lightest. Lamborghini claimed 2,150 kilos. Do you think it's going to be the lightest? Now we've got it on the scales?
It's got a lot of carbon on, hasn't it? And I'm guessing...
Did you have to pay extra for the carbon bits? The bonnet's standard, isn't it?
Yes.
I do know that you had to spend 70 grand on options, didn't you? Didn't the Lamborghini man spec it for you?
Yeah, so basically, having an early car, I had no choice. So I could wait and spec or have this one new. So matey trigger finger was like, yep, we'll have them or them, and charge a fortune. And mugs like me, who are desperate for the first car.
Yeah, you paid the money, but, you know, it holds its value completely, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, like, it's not irrelevant, but it sort of is irrelevant because it's still made money, so...
I think we're kind of, like, just getting a little bit lost here, and maybe we just need to focus on the weight. So, it's supposed to be 2,150 kilos.
Yep.
Dylan's put it on the scales.
And its actual weight is 2282.
What is it when you account for 90% fuel?
2275.
Wow, so it's actually heavier than the Porsche. But don't worry, just done the maths. The power to weight ratio of this is 309 horsepower per tonne, which beats the Porsche's power to weight ratio by 2 horsepower per tonne.
You lost me at hello.
You won.
Ah!
You won.
What do I get?
You get to keep your car and not hate it.
Is this not when somebody brings on a big, like, massive check?
You'll have to give a big, massive check to Lamborghini when they do the first service on this thing, no doubt. I thought it'd be interesting to compare the power curves of the 4 SUVs. So I have them here in 4 different colours. And what's interesting is that for most of the rev range, the Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT has more power than the Urus. It's only after the Porsche peaks out at just 5,500 RPM that the Urus keeps on building to go to a slightly higher power output up here, all the way over 6,000 RPM. In fact, the Porsche peaks soonest, followed by the BMW, then the Audi, then the Urus. But for most driving, you know, when you're in this part of the rev range, the Porsche actually delivers the most performance. It's only when you really rev it out that you get the benefit of that Lamborghini Urus Performante. But really this game is all about the peak figure, and the Urus does deliver the most power. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know what you think of these results in the comments below. Click on those windows there for some more videos, and on that box there to go to carwow to sell your car the easy way. Just upload some photos, give a brief description, and dealers all across the country will bid on your car. Thanks for watching.